This is my first Fish Eater Friday in 2014. Yes, I know this is the second Friday in 2014. There's been a batch of flu go through this area that's a real killer. And it took me down for a while. But while I was away, questions have piled up. And here is one. What are your thoughts concerning the documentary filmed about your person? What was it like to be filmed? Did you enjoy the final edits? Do you think their efforts helped your ministry? Actually, the documentary was a fascinating project, going clear back to 2007 when I first met Adam Fairholm, who headed up the eventual documentary crew. He and two other students came from Notre Dame and did a 10-minute short. You can find it on the internet. What I noticed in the first 10-minute short, which they spent 2 days filming, they did excellent work. They had a little bit too much editing help at Notre Dame. One can understand why. In any case, Adam approached me on the documentary and I said, yes. And the reason I said yes, and this is why I think the documentary is so helpful. Not necessarily that I like how it came out, although I think it came out reasonably well. I think it's the idea of the documentary and how this particular documentary was done. Because there are other documentaries out there. The Society of St. Pius X is doing one now on Archbishop Lefebvre. They're doing it in-house. The big difference between the Society's documentary and this documentary is I didn't do this documentary. This was not an in-house project. I remember over there, you see the scene at Kansas University with Professor Miller. The documentary crew would come over with me. We'd set the whole thing up. He knew what was going on, of course. The crew would be coming along, and they're setting up and everything. He came over and he said, are they your people? I said, well, no, they're not. They're an independent crew. And Professor Miller then just smiled. I think that one thing that's very important in these days especially, because there are a lot of charlatans out there. Let's face it. Let's admit it. That we need to be open. And this is what the documentary does, because I had no editorial control over the documentary. I did not control any bit from beginning to end. True, Adam said, if you have any ideas, feel free to throw them in. It was his first documentary. And that I did. I don't think he used one of them. But that's okay. By letting an independent crew do a documentary, one shows immediately that you've got nothing to hide. And I would say if there's been any boost to people accepting the legitimacy of Pope Michael or looking into the fact that, hey, maybe we should have elected a pope, is that I was totally open here. I let people in that I had met once. Well, I'd met Adam once. The rest of the crew that came, I would meet them as they would arrive on the various filming schedules. It took place from summer 2008 was the first, on through the presentations, Kansas University and Iowa University, which in 2009, if I recall, and that was the last session of shooting. There were some in between. Of course, we went to Smoky Hill Vineyard. Now, that's one thing I did in discussing with Adam. He was looking for some things to do, and I said, well, we could do this. I helped him set that one up, for instance. But I didn't know if he would use any of that material. There's material he shot. He would buy a stack of tapes. Only on the last visit did he actually have enough tapes for the whole visit. He would usually be going out and buying more tapes to shoot more, because he shot an awful lot. So a lot went on the cutting room floor. Very little made it to his Vimeo and YouTube channels. But I think the important point of the whole documentary was openness. I was letting in people to film in my home, my place of business, watch me give a presentation, etc., that I was open to people. Because I've noticed these in-house projects, they're going to be slanted. If I commission documentary on myself, it's going to be influenced by me. And that's one of the things I thought about over there in Kansas University. You could have seen them sticking microphones all over the place and the camera going and everything. And I was thinking, if it was my crew, they wouldn't be doing that. I'd have them restrained and back. They would be filming nice and quietly. But it wasn't my crew. Because, I think of the Society of St. Pius X. I saw the trailer, I think it's for Lefebvre the movie. Something that's talking about the first pilgrimage over in St. Mary's. Now, I happen to have been at the first pilgrimage in St. Mary's. They're saying 2,000 people welcomed the Archbishop. Well, that number's inflated over the... I remember at the first pilgrimage, the main banquet, a friend of mine counted everyone that came in that had tickets, got the meal, whatever it was. He gave Father Boldick a figure of around 745 or something. He gave an exact count. Boldick gets up. There are 900 people here. All of a sudden, it's grown by 150 people from the report to the main table. Now it's grown to 2,000 people. And that's one of the things, my friends, if you're going to start telling stories, and while I've been down sick a little bit, I've watched a couple of interesting stories, and that's only half the story. I think a good documentary about traditionalism ought to be done. I've seen a book, The Smoke of Satan, on it. That gives a little view of it. But I mean, a good documentary, let's tell the whole stories here, folks. I mean, that's history. And so, yes, I think the documentary was a big help, and I think it's mainly because I showed that I'm open, and I'm still open. I be willing to do interviews, over the internet, for newspapers, whatever. If an opportunity comes up to speak the truth to the world, I want to take it. Because that's my job, is to speak the truth to the world. And that's, I think, why I participate in the documentary. So, if you have a chance, watch it. If you have questions, you know where to find me. God bless you on this Friday, and enjoy your fish.